Hey guys, we're here today with our good friend Rusty McCalla. He's rep for General and Forged right now for us here in Wichita. I'm on door duty, so if I take off, it's just because I got to go take care of a customer. But just here to talk to Rusty today about the world of cigars and entering the cigars. So let's get right into it, man. What got you started smoking cigars?
So I started smoking cigars when I was in the Marine Corps out in 29 Palms, California. You could still smoke in a bar in California at the time.
Wow.
So
you're old.
I'm old.
I was going to say,
that's
really
old.
old.
So I actually worked as a bartender at this beer and wine only bar about a mile and a half off the base. And there was a guy, his name's Tony. He was a retired gunner from the Marine Corps. He would come into the bar every day at the same time, carrying 2 cigars, and he'd order 3 beers, right? And there was an Ashton number 40 Maduro. And I said to him one day, I said, Tony, what do you smoke every day that you come in? He said, oh, man, this is the greatest cigar you'd ever smoked in your life. I said, oh, okay, what is it? Handed me one. I smoked it later that night. And I was like, this is actually really good. So I actually started smoking Ashton number 40 Maduro was what got me into premium cigars.
Nice.
So
you worked for Ashton for a little while.
fast forward years later, and I was the Ashton rep.
That's fine.
So it's kind of all full circle. So yeah, that was 2002 when I started.
So you've also done some time in retail.
Yep.
Talk about where you were at in retail.
So retail wise, I started out at Outlaw up in Kansas City.
Great shops.
Yeah. Started out at the North Store. Worked up at the North Store probably 7-8 months, and then I had actually moved south of the South Store in Overland Park, and to get from my house to the North Store was probably 45-50 minute drive, and it just didn't make sense. So I had asked Liesel if I could transfer down to the South Store and transfer down there, and I worked for Outlaw for just about 2.5 years. And then I had the opportunity to go up to Omaha and be the GM of a shop down in the old market called SG Roy. So
Great shop.
Great shop up in Nebraska. So went up there, and I was up there for almost 2 years. So worked retail for about 4 years, 4.5 years total. Kind of got out of the industry for a couple years, and then had the opportunity to come back as a rep. So, the job we all wanted.
During your time at SG Roy, you made a cigar.
We did. My old boss, Chaz, we went down to Nicaragua, went down to Esteli, and worked with Agnorsa, guys at Casa Fernandez, and we blended a cigar called Entrada. And it was awesome working. We had the privilege to work with Arsenio Ramos, who has now passed, but I mean, just the craftsmanship and the knowledge I learned from that man is just unreal. But yeah, I got to experience the whole thing: the fields, the factories, the blending room. You're smoking 19 cigars in a day to try to get to it. Some are an inch, some are 4 inches, some are the entire stick, just to find out, no, that wasn't right. That wasn't it. We landed on our blend after about 3 days of blending.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So we kind of had an idea of what we were after going down. So we had done some of our homework about the tobaccos that come out of the Casa Fernandez. So we smoked, a lot of Illusion. We smoked a lot of the Agnorsa leaf. So we did some research and kind of came up with a profile that we were really after. And so we kind of had an idea of what we wanted. And so when we got down there, they had a couple blends already put together off of what we had suggested, and just kind of tweaking and starting and pulling and this and that. And, so
I've got a great Arsenio Ramos story.
Yeah.
I was down in Houston visiting some friends. They had a big event over at Stogie's when Ray Lesero Lesero? That's his first name. Lesero. Anyways, the guy that owns Stogie's had a big event, and hung out with those guys for the weekend with some other friends and everything. But the first night, I'd seen Paul Palmer, and Paul's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I'm just hanging out, man. He's like, it's good to see you and everything. Paul's great.
Love Paul.
And I look over and I see this old man that's sitting at a wooden bench. It's a wooden bench about for me to hand to you over there. And I just look over there and I'm like, I'm going to go talk to this guy. And I had an idea who he was, but I wasn't 100% sure because it's not like they photographed him.
He wasn't a face.
So I sit down and I said, hey, man, how are you? And he looks over at me and he doesn't really speak much English. He smiles and says, ¿Qué onda? ¿Está bien? And he's like, oh, you speak Spanish. So we ended up having a 40-minute conversation with my very broken Spanish. But he introduced himself and I'm like, oh, I know exactly who you are. I'm very excited to meet you. And we talked a lot about just kind of life stuff and tobacco as well as I could with my broken Spanish. But at the end of it, he stops me as I get up. I'm like, hey, man, I got to run. I got to go talk to a guy real quick. And he grabs my hand. He's like, hey, wait. Thank you for talking with me in English. And I was like, oh, my God, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
He was such a cool guy, man. Just a really, really interesting and impressive guy.
So it was probably an experience that I'll never forget. I mean, the whole thing was just amazing. But the second night we were in Nicaragua, Eduardo Fernandez has what they call a Cuban house in Esteli, and that's where Arsenio lived. That's where his son lived. I can't remember the plant or the farm manager, Jacinto, I think is his name.
Right.
But all the
Jacinto.
Cuban, Jacinto, yeah. But all the Cuban guys lived in this house that was paid for by Eduardo Fernandez, the owner, right? And so we went over there, right, for dinner one night. And it was traditional, like Cuban food and plenty of rum and cigars and conversation. And Eduardo was our translator, basically, right? So it was an amazing night to sit there and can't hear us?
I'm picking up the phone.
Oh, sorry, it's the boss. So my boss is calling.
Too bad.
So we're sitting there and just listening to all these old stories that Arsenio's telling and Jacinto's telling and Eduardo's telling stories, and not knowing Spanish at all, but Eduardo translating. I mean, we got good, like, belly hurt laughs. I mean, they were just, it was a night that I'll never forget. Just hanging out in this house with a bunch of just the legends from the industry. It was amazing.
Do they have one of those moments where he said something in Spanish and he stops and he asks him in Spanish and they talk back and forth for a second and he's like, and then this happened?
Yes, plenty of those. So yeah, it was an amazing experience that I'll never forget. So
Arsenio was amazing.
Yeah. If you ever find the Arsenio blends from the Casa Fernandez, buy them, smoke them, enjoy them. They are fantastic. So
I forgot all about that cigar.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I took over the shop in Nebraska, right, that cigar, so I took over in 2012. That cigar came out in 2010. And they were 10-count boxes, right? And I used to smoke the hell out of them when I was at Outlaw, because it was a fantastic stick. It was a Robusto. Comes in at about $7,
Yeah,
right?
They weren't terribly
No.
expensive. And they were
So I get up to Nebraska, and the first thing I do is an inventory because I want to know what I have in my unit. And I'm pulling backstock boxes out from the wall underneath the shelves, and there is a box of Arsenio Maduros that had fallen straight up. And I cut it open, and I was like, I've never seen this band before, right? Like, it wasn't the same band of the Arsenios that I was used to smoking, right? So I took a picture, and I sent it to Ryan Poehler. He was my rep. And I said, Ryan, what's this? He was like, oh, that's the original release band from when we first put it out in 2010. I was like, mine, bought the whole box, right? I mean, it was like, I wish I would have kept one or two just to have, but obviously smoked them all. Way too good not to smoke. So, but
when you started back into the industry, you were with Ashton. That was an experience of itself.
Absolutely.
If we're going to be talking about people that we miss, I mean, we can't not talk about Manny.
Absolutely. I mean, the man.
I've never been motherfucker and cocksucker so many times at once, dressed in a suit and tie,
right,
with 80 other people, than having dinner with Manny.
I think that was like almost like in every third or fourth word in everything you said.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. So did you
Usually
ever?
Manny's are like that.
Yeah, Manny's typically are like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Did you ever do Manny's thing with the old Mia Moore and the gin?
I did not. So I met Manny when we had an Ashton event at Outlaw. Manny had passed by the time I started working for Ashton. So I had met Manny at the event at Outlaw, but I never actually got to quote unquote
Did a
work
dinner
with
or
him.
something though with him?
No, we didn't at Outlaw.
man.
It was just obviously Outlaw events were
No, I'm
just
saying
so
like
big.
at the trade shows and things. Did you
I
ever
never
do
went
those?
to. No, I ever.
Oh,
So I take that back. I went to the show. My first show as a retailer was 2013.
okay.
I believe that he was still around
Yeah.
because I think he passed in 14,
I was
right?
14. Yeah.
So I did get one dinner, and I don't remember who swore more, Manny or Chip.
Where's your toss up?
But I remember both of them talking, but I couldn't remember who cussed you more.
Yeah, Manny was wow. So he had this thing with Hendrix gin. He loved that Hendrix gin, the one with the little top hat,
Mhm.
The bowler hat or whatever. And the old Mia Moore, when it was still being made, Altadis made it first, right? And then it went over to Pepin later.
Yeah.
The old one, I still have a few of these. You should try with me sometime. It was real spicy, but it wasn't like Pepin spicy. It was just like a normal kind of heavy, spicy, earthy cigar. It was really, really nice. And no, it's not Mia Moore. It's
Just the regular
La
Roma.
Aroma, the red label one with the girl on. La Aroma, not Mia Moore. So he was. His thing was this pairs perfectly with Hendrix gin. I think he just liked Hendrix gin, but when you smoke and drink that together, the floral notes from the Hendrix gin come out, and that sweetness and the spice, everything just plays so well together. And I thought it was full of shit because I don't like gin. But I smoked and drank that together right when he passed. We went and got a bottle that day. I'll always remember that. Ryan and I sat there and killed the whole bottle of Hendrix gin and smoked 2 of those apiece, 2 Churchills apiece. Because he put an effect on us. You know? I mean, you meet a person like that, and you spend even a little bit of time with them, and it changes your outlook on it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So while he's on the phone, let's back up.
Yep.
So you're a Marine Corps bartender. You get
Take
out.
that back. Yeah.
Your love for cigars, is that why you ventured into the cigar industry? Or was that because
To
it
be
was
honest-
just something that popped up and you wanted a job?
So I got out in 04, moved to Kansas City. I knew there was a shop called Outlaw, but I wasn't that big of a cigar smoker to go a lot.
Right.
So when I first moved to Kansas City, anytime I bought a cigar, I went to Diebel's,
Right.
right?
Which isn't
So
a bad place.
no, it's a great place. So that's where I bought any cigar
Mhm.
for a long time. And then in 2010, actually the 23rd of December of 2009, they opened up the Outlaw South store in Overland Park. Well, that happened to be like less than a mile from my apartment,
Mhm.
right? And so this was 5 years after going to Kansas City.
Right.
So I decided I wanted to go back to school and use my GI Bill. So I was a
Right.
freshman in college,
Yeah.
right?
It's always fun.
It's always fun, right?
Yeah.
So, wanted to have a cigar and went into Outlaw, and that's where I met John Farragon, who a lot of people probably
Yeah.
know. He's been around forever.
Great guy.
Met John and just kind of fell in love with it, and I became a 5-6 day a week customer at Outlaw. Just hanging out, I would take my laptop in, do schoolwork, have a cigar. Then it got to the point where it's like, all right, well, I need a part-time job, and I love cigars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, hey, do you need help? And then next thing you know, I'm a full-time employee.
It's
So-
amazing how that works.
It's crazy,
From personal
they
experience.
suck you in.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Too bad the pay isn't good though.
the benefit is the cigars.
That's true. That's true.
But, I'll always have a love for Outlaw. That's where actually I met my wife. So my wife worked at Outlaw, and I met her as a customer. And after I started working there, we just kind of
It just
started
one thing leads
talking,
to
and one
another,
thing leads to another, and here we are. Been together 10 years.
Forever miserable she is now.
Yeah. Poor woman having to deal with me, right?
Wake up every morning with a heart attack. But anyway.
I wake up beautiful with this thing.
Oh, okay. That's what I say too.
So yeah, I'll always have a special place in my heart for Outlaw. Just obviously, that's where I met my wife and made friends for life. And I think that's truly where the passion for cigars really set in was when I was working at Outlaw.
Right.
Because not only was John Farragon there, but a guy by the name of Kevin Baxter. Kevin is probably one of the hands down most knowledgeable dudes that I've ever met with a palate like you wouldn't believe. I learned so much just talking to him, and he would push me on trying new stuff because at the time, like I said, I really only smoked Ashton Maduro, and I didn't like anything really heavy and peppery and stuff like that. And he pushed me out and really got me to explore the finer details of cigars and expand my palate.
I get it. I did the same thing with G. It was like, oh, I like this cigar because of this, and it's like, what else you taste? It starts to open up your mind.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
Get this feeling or flavor.
I remember like one of the first like heavier cigars that I ever smoked was the Dom Pepin Blue Label.
Yeah.
And I remember lighting that up, and I was like, "Oh man, this is this has got some spice and pepper." They get that Nicaraguan kick, And I think that was the first Lancero I had smoked too. That Pepin Blue Label Lancero.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a
and I mean that's when I fell in love with Lanceros. So. Yeah, just, taking me back to stuff I haven't thought about in a long time.
Yeah, so one other interesting thing that people that know Rusty know that he's originally a Pennsylvania guy. So Kansas City, that's kind of a weird destination. You get out of Nashville, you decide not to go home.
No.
So you go to Kansas City of all places.
Yeah. So born and raised up in northwest Pennsylvania, about 60 miles east and just a little south of Erie. So up in the Allegheny National Mountains. And you join the military and you go away, and your small town life, I grew up in a small town. Everybody knew everybody. Right. And my dad was even worse than everybody because he knew everybody's father. Right. So, you get out of your small comfort zone and you learn there's more out there.
Yeah, there's a lot more to the world, especially when you've gone to foreign destinations.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I got out, I was stationed in California. And I knew I did not want to live in Southern California.
Right.
Like I knew with all of my heart, as much as I loved the nice weather, couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So I went home, was kind of home, not sure what I wanted to do. My parents really wanted me to stick around. But one of my best friends lived in Kansas City. His job took him out there.
Okay.
And so another buddy of mine and we decided to go out and visit because I haven't seen my buddy Rob in about a year.
Right.
From deployment and training and whatnot. So went out and he lived in Overland Park, and I fell in love with
Kansas City's an awesome city.
I fell in love with the city.
I lived in Chicago and Dallas, and Dallas, Kansas City to me, it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
I've got friends in Dallas. Dallas, I lived in Dallas, but man, KC, I almost took a job up there. So, yeah.
But it was just one of those things that we literally went. The weekend before Labor Day of 2004, got out there on a Thursday and decided let's check out the city. Thursday night we went to a bar that was literally half a mile from my buddy's apartment called Tanner's.
Oh yeah,
and we probably drank most of their alcohol in the bar. Stumbled home. And we woke up Friday morning. We were like, "Yep, I want to move here. I want to live here. This is awesome." Living close to one of your best friends. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, looked around on Friday for an apartment. Found an apartment across the street from where my buddy lived. Decided we should probably look for jobs. Well, when you're in the infantry in the Marine Corps, any security company is going to hire you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
it's kind of
my buddy my buddy graduated college with a criminal justice degree. I had my military background. We got a job as security guards, and the pay was, for what we were doing, was pretty decent.
Good
right?
money, really.
Especially
night shift.
So and that's what we started on. We were armed night guards.
Yeah, because all you do is basically sit around hoping something will happen, and it never does.
So we had a job and an apartment on a Friday.
That's pretty.
The day after we get there, and we're all shit-faced drunk. So we decided, all right, well, screw it. It looks like we're moving. So literally Labor Day weekend of 2004, we drove back to Pennsylvania, packed up our life, and drove back to KC. And about a little over a year later, my buddy Rob, who I moved out there to be close to, his job transferred him to Kentucky. A couple years later, my buddy Chris, who came out with me, moved back home. So by this point, I'd already made a new life.
Yeah, you have a new social
KC got his
Yeah.
claws in you. It's kind of
Right?
like Wichita.
Right?
Put your claws in you and never
Put
get
your
away.
claws in, you can't get out. So yeah,
I certainly can resonate with that. Being a small town boy, you go back home after you've seen the world, been in big cities,
Yeah.
and there's something nice about a small town. Like if I had kids, that might be something I'd be interested in.
Yeah.
But that everybody's in your business stuff, and it's like everybody knows you, and it's just like, oh wow, you got a little drunk last night at the bar, Rusty,
right?
at church,
Yeah.
or something. So yeah, it's just one of those. Kansas City's nuts.
So it's fun. I went home back to Pennsylvania this past summer for the 4th of July. It was the first time I'd been home for the 4th of July in 20 years.
Remember you told
Right.
me about that? Yeah.
And so you get so used to all the amazing amenities that a big city offers you.
Absolutely.
And you go back home and you have none of it.
No restaurant after 8 p.m.
No. Like the only advantage was there's a couple bars you could still smoke and drink in, right? So that was kind of cool. But other than that, no Chipotle.
You almost died. You almost died.
Dude, there's no Chipotle. Are you kidding me? So I
no street food trucks.
no taco trucks, no nothing, right? So like I'm literally like looking up, how do you open a Chipotle? Can you franchise? Well, unfortunately they don't franchise, they're all corporate owned. So but it's like, man, there needs to be a Hertz donut style like donut shop, right? There's
I want to make this a big city.
But
Right.
Gentrification.
Marine Corps logic here. Can I open a Chipotle while I'm back home on vacation?
Right.
I mean, that's that can-do Marine Corps attitude.
That's right.
We're gonna have a Chipotle this weekend, my
Right.
God.
So it was like, all right, well, there's no good pizza place. I mean, you got Pizza Hut, Domino's, Little Caesars, like
No mom and pop place.
nothing,
Yeah.
right? I was like, all right, well, let's open this up. Well, we got
What's
to
my Rosati's? What's up?
right,
Yeah.
right. Give me that deep dish recipe, baby. So then it was like, all right, well, we got this huge reservoir that everybody goes to in the summertime. I mean, late like boats all day, and there's one marina with a restaurant, and that's it, right? All the other boat launches are literally just a boat launch.
They might have a gas station, maybe.
That is at the marina.
That's it. That's the
That's
only
it.
one. Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking, all right, I can do this. I'm going to buy an old houseboat, right? Gut it, pizza
The
place on it.
Christian maneuver, man. With
Right.
the cigar shop?
Well, I was thinking a mobile pizza shop,
Nice. Okay.
Right.
Float around the lake.
float around. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't pack for it and you're out on the lake all day and you're hungry, what do you do?
Grab some pizza.
Hey, I got pizza.
By the way, everybody watching this, we've got an NDA you have to sign.
Yeah.
If there's
right.
any paddle boats
That's
on it,
right.
let's
So again, NDAs are important here.
100%.
Christian came up with the idea. He wanted to get a houseboat,
Do
build a cigar
shop.
shop on,
Yeah.
on Table Rock or
Yeah.
Lake of the Ozarks, one of the two.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, that would never work. He's like, oh no, it totally worked. I'm like, you burn the boat to the ground the first day. It would literally be at the bottom of the ocean, bottom of the lake by the end of the first day.
So-
Somebody would set the whole thing on fire.
so it's funny. When I was at Outlaw, John Ferrier and I, we talked about that, right? We wanted to do it. And you literally would set up on like your website or something, or even like now with social media, just a map of your,
Right? Here's my route.
here's my route. This is where I'm going to be.
Mhm.
If you want stuff ready for you, text
Call
this
ahead.
number, call ahead, right? So I got this whole mindset, and I'm going to move back home to this small town, and I'm going to dominate with small business and restaurants. And I'm going to open up. I'm going to open up because I wanted morning of the 4th of July, right?
Right.
What made me think of the donut place, right? Morning, 4th of July morning. I went and worked out that morning, right? After a workout, I'm a fat kid. I wanted a donut, right? There was one place besides the grocery store to get donuts, right? So I go and I forgot my wallet. Damn it. But luckily about a small town, you're 5 minutes from everything.
Right.
So I literally drove back to my sister's house, got my wallet. She said, hey, can you go to the grocery store and pick this up for me? Cool. While I'm there, I'll just get donuts there. They were sold out of donuts by like 9:30 in the morning. All right, well, it looks like I got to go over this place. I go back, go through the drive-thru. I got 2 donuts, and they were like the worst donuts that I've ever eaten in my life. But it was like I was on such a donut kick. So I'm like, man, this town is full of fat bastards. I need to open up a donut shop in this town, right? Like we're gonna open up a gourmet donut on
It's
a food
important,
truck. On a food truck, nonetheless. Less overhead,
or a
and
food boat.
food truck, less overhead. You can go to all the businesses,
Yeah.
right? I was like, nah, perfect. Obviously, it didn't happen. I'm still in Kansas City, so.
By the way, donuts are good power lifter food, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean,
Rusty's a power lifter if you didn't know.
well, more strongman than power.
Kind of
Picks up heavy things and moves them around.
I do. I pick up heavy shit.
It's good.
So
It's good.
He doesn't tow a train with his teeth or anything.
no, I
Yeah.
haven't tried it yet, but not opposed.
I'm going to leave that one alone. All right, so obligatory commentary on the
Okay.
company that you work for. We're smoking this brand new CAO Mortal Coil
Arcana. Arcana.
Florida Cognac? Wait.
No,
Oh,
it's not the rum.
okay.
Arcana.
It's using Andula tobacco, and it's pretty damn tasty.
Yeah.
So it's got USA broadleaf wrapper, Connecticut shade binder, the Andula, Nicaraguan, and Dominican filler.
Okay. That's as wrapper binder filler as we're going to get.
That's all we're
And
gonna
I just
get.
want to say hi about that because it's
Yeah.
tasty.
It's good.
Hey,
Cold draw on this is fascinating.
yeah, it is very interesting.
Figgy, chocolate cherry, what licorice.
Yeah.
Almost anise, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a limited edition. So, I mean, you can see it's a spiraled
Yes.
cigar band,
Yes.
and you can undo it all as one. It's a nice
Straight.
long straight. Yeah. But
What?
limited edition, 20 count boxes, SRP on it's $11, so it's going to vary on your state taxes and everything like that. So, but yeah, Ricky was really excited about this. Oh, that's the other thing. We used some of the Brazilian Berganca tobacco we used in the Amazon series
Yeah.
in this as well. So that's also in the filler.
All right. Because we just said a lot of big words.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is my favorite question to ask people, and I always have to read it because I'm always going to mess it up. What was that one thing that got you into trouble? No, I'm sorry, that's the wrong question. Something you really messed up on that no one knew about until now. This is always a good question.
Just in general in
Anything,
life.
anywhere, anytime. Something you screwed up real bad that nobody knows about until just right now.
Yeah. Leave the Marine Corps out. We're still 20 years out. So
This is always a hard one because nobody wants to talk about it.
nobody wants to
I'm
admit
just
their mistake.
No one
I'm just
gives a
trying to
question.
think of something that I never told anybody.
Here, I'll give you a funny one. So one night I text G and I'm like, dude, I don't know, the drawer is $20 short. So I go to exchange change, and somebody walks in and I've got cash, so I put it in my front pocket of my flannel shirt. So I text him and say, I don't know, we're $20 short. I go home and I feel this scrunch in the shirt pocket. I'm like, but I did tell him. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's something stupid. It can be that dumb.
Oh man.
It's because that guy there was entertaining me on the other side.
I don't know. Like I tell people when I do stupid stuff.
I do too.
I mean,
All right, when you were a kid, did you ever sneak out of your house when your dad was going to whoop your backside?
oh no, I was too scared of my dad. But growing up, I had a paper route as a kid, so I didn't have to sneak out. Like that was just it. My parents knew that I'd be up early in the morning leaving the house, so I never had to sneak out.
Yeah,
I think
because you had to get up early.
I had to get up early and do the paper route. I mean, honestly,
You're tell me you're just an angel.
no, I'm not. An actor. I did bad stuff, but I usually told people about it. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a pretty open guy.
Funny thing is,
I don't know.
that seems to be a cigar industry thing.
Pretty open guy.
People are pretty open in
Yeah.
the industry. They'll tell you their mistakes, because through their mistakes, you talk to blenders. Oh, I screwed this up, and it turned out to be this awesome
Yeah.
little thing that we used.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Maybe I know for a fact that I did this when I was running the shop in Nebraska. I played dumb a lot.
oh yeah,
So like my very first time that I ever ordered Padron.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'd never ordered Padron before because at Outlaw is always taken care of. You just open a box and boom, magically put your order in, right? And now I'm running the shop and I have to order, right? So my boss tells me, hey, place a Padron order. Cool. I didn't know that there was credit card pay right now.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
So.
yeah.
So he was like, all right, I want a box to show, a box to go, and everything we got. All right, cool. So, I mean, I bet this thing was like a 30-box order, right? So I put the order in. And he calls me up about 10 minutes later, and he's like, what the fuck did you just do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm
thought I was
playing
doing what
dumb.
you told me to do.
I was like, I did exactly. He's like, you know how much you just spent with the drone? I was like, nope. He's like, you need to call him back. I was like, all right. Never ended up calling him back. So we got the order
Got
in.
busy.
Yeah, we got the order in, and he was like, I told you to call. I was like, I did.
That's almost
So there we
believable.
go.
with Padrone.
Yeah.
It's
So there we
almost
go. I think
believable.
that's probably like one that I can see. And it was a big order. But
Yeah.
the thing is, we always
30
sold
boxes.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, 30 boxes of Padrone. You're in the industry. You know what that's going to run you,
Bye.
right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, we sold it all pretty quick. Got our money back. I mean, but it was one of those that was like, oh, man,
Yeah.
play dumb.
That's pretty good.
Play dumb.
That's pretty good.
30 bucks Padrone order,
Yeah,
play
you
dumb.
see that invoice and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, now I get why he was
Yeah.
so upset.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in town this weekend for some weightlifting, apparently, or some heavy lifting.
Yep. I'm doing the Kansas Strongest Man competition at a gym here in Wichita. So I do strongman stuff. So I'm not just this big because I'm fat. I mean, that's part of it, but I'm kind of strong too.
That's good.
But yeah, so it kind of works out a little bit. But yeah, so it's tomorrow. Starts like 10 o'clock, but we got 4 events. Deadlift, some log press medley stuff, sandbag, keg, Atlas stone carry, and we've got a sandbag over bar for height. So I'm excited. I think I'm feeling pretty good. Kind of recovering from a little injury, but overall I feel pretty good. Yeah, I feel pretty solid. I think my weakest event's going to be probably deadlift. I mean, I still pull pretty good numbers, but I've been told that there's some pretty big boys that are going to be competing tomorrow. So, I think I'm a big boy, but I heard one guy's like 6'5", 320. So he's a pretty good sized guy.
Pretty good sized guy.
So we'll see if my low center of gravity, not having to pick the weight up super far, is an advantage for me tomorrow.
That's a bonus.
So yeah, but
We're going to find out.
yeah, we will find out in a little over 12 hours.
All right. All right.
But yeah,
So the cigar industry has been a fun thing for you. What else did you do besides the Marines? When you had that little gap in between cigaring.
yeah. So
Kind of hit on that. Actually.
yeah, we touched on it a little bit, but
Sorry, I was in and out.
no, you're
That's all right,
good.
you're
We I went to college as a 29-year-old, as a freshman.
God, that had to be great. Then.
It was fun.
No, it had to be great.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, to be honest with you, it was frustrating at times too because I'm
Oh,
29.
yeah.
I'm 29. I've been through more stuff than most people will in their entire lives, right? And now I'm in a classroom with 18-year-old kids, right?
I have
And
no perspective on life.
that zero perspective on life, and I mean, it was difficult at times. It was fun. They looked up to me as like this cool guy, so I kind of had the cool freshman guy look,
It
but
didn't happen at 36 when I went back.
No.
Just for the record.
just for the record.
They just looked at me as the old guy that didn't know anything.
Yeah. So went to college. I worked for a sporting goods store, Shields. So I was the rifle and handgun manager for a while, and then
It doesn't surprise me either.
I got rid of the handgun aspect, and I was the rifle and optics manager for a while. So I sold guns for a couple of years. That's what I did right before I became a cigar rep. So yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. I sold cars for a while. I worked at a credit union for a while. I framed houses for a while. Yeah.
Selling cars, man, you learn a lot about it. I mean, it's the best job ever because you learn a lot of neat things.
Yeah.
And you get stressed out because you'll spend 2 hours with a guy that
Then he
can't make up
walks.
his mind that really wasn't going to buy the car anyway,
Yeah.
but wanted to see if he could get a good deal to tell all his friends.
And so the thing when I was selling cars was the internet was young, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there was no Kelley Blue Book or anything like that. You know what I mean? And so when a guy came in, like you still had to get your manager and go for a drive and see what the car was like. And, you get in some people's cars and they're just nasty. And they're like, I don't even want to take this thing for a drive, Then you got to come back and tell them that it's worth nothing. And actually they want thousands of dollars for their car and it's not worth it, But it does. I mean, I'm glad I did it. I mean, I have a whole new outlook on when I go to buy a car, I know how the process works.
Yeah, so 90 selling Lexus, and this is before the internet, of course. So I got this guy who wants to buy a 1990 Mercedes 560 SEC, the coupe. Comes in, we got the price on the car. I can't remember how much it was. We're in the negotiating thing.
Mm-hmm.
Get him in the
Ford
box,
Square?
do the whole
Yeah.
This guy reaches into his pocket, pulls out a NATO book, and it was the dealer NATO book. And the look on my face, I think I dropped my pen. because I'd never seen that.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow, this guy's like prepared. So I go into my manager's office. He goes, how's that going? I go, I'm fine. And he goes, why? And he goes, he pulled out an 8 of them. He goes, what color was it? He was like, yellow. He goes, so he walks back in there and he's like, so he's talking to the guy. He goes, well, those are based on reach, gives him the whole spiel. And the guy goes, I used to be a manager at a Mercedes dealer, and I know this car's worth that much money. And I look at the manager, he looks at me, and he's like, he gives me that, we're fucked. Look.
Yeah.
I guess we're selling this.
Yeah,
one.
I guess we're selling this one, and I guess you and I are splitting $5 a piece. Yeah.
I think the best was I had this old guy come in one day, and he gets out of his car, and in the front pocket of his shirt, the old farmer dude, he's got his checkbook.
Oh, yeah.
Not only does he have the checkbook, but he has a title to his car.
Yeah.
Right? And my manager comes up. He's like, all right, you're his grandson. I was like, what? He's like, go be his grandson. I was like, all right. So we take a look at their car. I mean, it was an old Buick, but it was it was perfect. Right? It was an old couple, right? So drove the car, showed them a couple of new things. They found one they liked, and we go on a test drive, right? And I was like, all right, here's keys, And he's like, no, would you mind driving us? Him and his wife. And I was like, you don't want to drive this car? He's like, no. He's like, I just want to see how it rides. Like, okay.
Question mark. Okay.
So we go on the normal test drive. We come back around, and we park, and he gets out. I was like, so what'd you think? He's like, it rides really nice. He's like, all right, well, let's go look at some numbers. He's like, what are you asking for it? And I told him. He's like, all right, cool. Like, no haggling.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a ticket. I get pumped. Like,
Yeah.
what's going
easy.
on, right?
Yeah.
And so we sit down, do the numbers. He doesn't haggle us on our price for his car. Doesn't haggle us on our price for this. They were happy. We were happy. I was really happy.
Yeah.
Right? I go walking into my manager's office. He's like doing this. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, you just clubbed a baby seal. I was like, I don't even know what that means, but okay.
That's evil.
It was evil. But I mean, hey, they were happy. So, yeah, learned a lot of good stuff. Had fun.
Before we get off this, one of the things you do learn selling cars, never pre-qualify people.
No.
So I sold Lexuses in the Kansas City metro area. At the time, one of the bigger dealers in the area. Had a guy that is related to a very well-known Kansas City family that may own a franchise or two. Came in and he looked like a freaking hobo. So I'm like, this guy's just wasting my time. Somebody goes, well, you do realize who that is? That his dad owns XYZ sports team. And I'm like, really? Sure as hell, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I learned a valuable lesson that day. Just because a guy looks like a bum.
Well,
Bums got money too. I mean,
that's the way it was. I was selling trucks in a farmland. When the farmers sell the crop, they got money to burn.
They come to town, they're looking to
Right?
make a deal.
And they roll up in coveralls that are covered in manure and mud on their boots up to their knees, getting out of a pickup truck that they've been on the farm for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he throws down cash to buy a brand new Dodge Dually. Okay.
Yeah.
So, don't judge people by their looks, folks.
A guy came in and he Opuses, General Products, Cohibas, Padron. I get all these boxes down. The guy's wearing blue jeans, flannel shirt, kind of a scrappy flannel shirt. I won't mention his name either. Wichita guy. $3,000. There's no way in hell. This guy pulls out money and he's got 5 racks on it. He's just like 1, 2, 3, 4. Counts $3,100 and some dollars. Just sets it down on there, and I was like, "Yep,
Okay,
that's why
thank you very much."
I just got another reinforcement on never pre-qualifies.
Right?
You never, and it does. It totally translates into everything you do.
Everything.
Yeah.
You never just assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've seen guys
Gotta dig deep.
in Brooks Brothers suits come in and buy the absolute cheapest cigar.
Because their car got declined.
Eh,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
I got a buddy that used to work for the Davidoff over in Madison, the big Madison store. He said it was the craziest thing. He'd be working, and this guy just walk in and be like, "I want that," and on the phone, that, fill it full of cigars. It's $11,000. Throws down his card and leaves. Still on the phone, goes and gets in the car and takes off. Like that was it. Like 3 minutes, and he's done. Like, you never know what you're gonna get.
No.
You never know what you're gonna
You
get.
don't. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff, actually.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Did you want to be a rep? I mean, was it one of these things where you were working the shops and you met these, generally reps. A lot of people, I don't know, in this area of the country, I think people know their reps more. East Coast, West Coast, but I'm sure there's still some of that. I mean,
Yeah.
But that was just one of those things. It was like, man, I mean, working the retail side would be cool. Being a rep would be cool.
Yeah, so I will tell you, like that was kind of one of those things where it's like I love working in the retail setting and everything like that, and it was awesome. But it was always like that rep comes in and everybody loves the rep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is obviously was back when before the FDA made changes and reps can hand out cigars to all the customers and whatnot. So, that was my like intro into rep world, right?
Yeah.
Like here's this rep walks in, just starts handing out
You're the
cigars,
most
and everybody
popular guy.
loves you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then I became friends with like a couple of the reps, and anybody that knows Garrett or knows Gordon knows that Garrett Calhoun is one of the most beloved guys in the industry, and Garrett was our Davidoff rep.
Yeah.
And getting to see like Garrett made the rep life look amazing,
Yeah.
right? Like
Well,
Garrett.
he could make the janitor life.
No, I understand, but Garrett was like the king,
No, man. When Garrett goes into full rep mode,
right?
it's not the laid back Garrett telling jokes.
Right.
It's very polished. It's crazy to watch him.
But-
And I've only seen him half throttle because he's not a rep anymore. But
Yeah, so it was like here I am like hanging out with Garrett and like loving all this like rep life, like smoking cigars. You open your trunk and there's 20 boxes, and what do you want to smoke today? And blah blah blah, and like it was just like traveling and meeting new people in every city, and it was like I want that. So obviously it took years. I started in the industry in 2010, and it took till 2017 to become a rep. So took a lot of years, and I applied for multiple different companies and got passed over, and it's okay. I'm a big believer of everything happens for a reason.
you wound up in pretty good spots.
Yeah. So when I landed with Ashton in the industry, I mean Ashton's a great company, and I was so happy with getting on board with them and being part of their family, and them trusting me and bringing me in. And I'll always be grateful for that. And but yeah, Gordon will tell you that Garrett makes the rep life look just like the best thing in the absolute world. Like,
It's terrible.
But he was asking what made me decide to be a rep. And I was like, Garrett Calhoun, basically.
Everybody has seen that.
Hoodwink.
Everybody has said, "Oh, I want to go and do what Garrett does." That's what
Yeah.
it boils down to.
Yeah.
By the way, I asked him if he wanted to do this one of these days, and he's dodged me completely.
Of course he has. Of course he has.
He's far too busy for those things.
Far too
Yeah,
busy.
far too busy.
Far too
But
busy for those things.
but no, but to be honest with you, like it's been fantastic. I love it. I've met amazing people. I cover all of Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Northwest Arkansas. I cover a little bit in East St. Louis, like South Illinois. But I've met some amazing people, and I've become really good friends with a lot of my shops. So that's one thing that it's I absolutely love this industry for the relationships that I've built with my accounts that have become friends and family.
Right.
So
Would you be willing to rep in another area, or do you think the Midwest is where it's at?
would I move?
Yeah. Would you work in a different territory?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it would be different?
It would be different. I think the Midwest is different than everywhere else. I still think here in the Midwest we are still a very much handshake business. You get into like California and Texas and not saying that you guys aren't, if you're watching, I'm not saying you guys aren't handshake businesses, but you guys are just so much bigger, right? And you kind of have to have a little more of that professional, like by the book stuff because you're so big, right? So
Kansas, for instance, or Oklahoma, these states around here, if there's another rep, you can come in. If there's another event,
100%.
you can come in.
Yeah.
There's none of this,
Yeah.
hey, you're stepping on my event. Now,
Right.
there's always the courtesy. Everybody's like, hey, man,
Sure.
is it all right? This is your thing.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not here to interrupt. I just want to smoke
and
and hang out.
everybody's.
In my experience, when I was doing Dissonant, when we were traveling and doing things, there's obviously little pockets where you had, friends and family and things like that. But what I found was moving out of the Midwest and moving into other areas, it wasn't as relationship driven.
Mhm.
Everything here is so relationship driven. It's so much,
100%.
Yeah.
it's so much that kind of a thing. And when we go out to the East Coast, we're still very surprised to have a relationship of any kind. But at the same time, they were like, well, wait, why are you guys like wanting to be in a relationship with people with us? Like, aren't you just here to do business and that's it? And that's kind of the difference, I think. It's been very interesting.
Yeah.
Shit.
Speaking of Hertz Donuts, right?
Donuts.
When I trained with Ashton, I trained up in the up in the New England area, right? And so
That
when
had to be a riot too.
it was
You're
fun,
the donut guy right now.
and so when I was traveling with a rep at the time, we were at a shop, and as we left the shop, 2 other reps showed up at the shop at the same time, and these guys
Hated each other. Yeah.
like hated each other. So we literally sat there in the car and we were like, "Oh, watch this," right? And it's just so weird because at Outlaw and at SG Roy, I'd have multiple reps in the shop at the same time, and they get along.
Yeah.
And they like love each other, right? Like the Oliva rep here in town, Joe Voss, like
Oh yeah.
fucking love Joe Voss,
Yeah.
right? And Jonathan
Before Joe.
Vandenberg, and like he's not the rep up here anymore, but AV, like I mean, I love the kid, I love the guy, like
And
I mean,
before George moved to General,
Yeah,
he was our
yeah,
leader rep. I mean,
yeah.
what a great guy.
George,
Yeah.
I mean, so the reps in the Midwest, I think for the most part, I think we all get along and help each other out.
Tyler from CLE who just walked by. I mean, there's a lot of cool cats in this business.
I don't really know him much.
You get a chance to know him.
Yeah,
He's
so
a great guy.
but yeah, I mean, is he out of Texas?
No, he's actually their logistics manager, I think.
Oh, so I have met him. He's from Florida, right?
Yeah, he's the guy from Miami.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I met him at Weston Tobacco Festival.
Yeah, yeah.
Or no, Whiskey Fest.
The whiskey.
Whiskey Festival.
The whiskey.
Yeah, so I met him there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm supportive of everything in the industry.
But
Like,
you have to. You
like-
got to smoke everybody's stuff
Yeah.
to know how your stuff
Yeah.
stacks up against.
you guys have the CLE event tonight, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I hope you guys kill it. I hope you sell, 100 boxes.
Right.
I mean, it'd be fantastic
Yeah.
because
Tell you
when-
what, if we
when-
sell 100 boxes, we're gonna have a hell of a time after you're waiting.
right? So, but it's one of those things where I don't care who you're doing an event with. I hope you do well because that means the shop is doing well.
Which
That
also
means
means you sell your product.
that means the cigar industry is doing well, and that means my business as a general rep will
Mhm.
continue to do well.
Right.
So yeah, I love the industry, and you'll talk to people that have accounts that don't like other accounts in the cities or whatever, and my philosophy is it's like, man, we have enough people against us in this industry,
Right.
like we shouldn't
It's not
fight
gonna
amongst
make it good.
ourselves.
Yeah.
You're going to
So
have people, and
you're
know
going to
this.
have it, yeah, absolutely, you're going to have it, but I mean, I don't think we need to have it. I mean, it's
There's some interesting personalities in this
oh
industry.
man, 100%,
I mean, yeah.
100%.
Even in Wichita, there's some interesting.
And I will tell you, that's probably one of the hardest things about being a rep is knowing the personality of the shop you're going into,
Mhm.
right? And then having to switch gears going into your next shop,
Right.
right?
Because here you can just be laid back, rusty. It doesn't have to be
Right?
polished.
And I'm not saying that I have to be polished at any other
When he
shop.
comes
but-
in, he's polished, by the way.
Hey,
Just
I
in
mean,
case
I'm-
Sean and Rick and a few other guys are watching. But Rusty can be Rusty.
Yeah,
And Rusty, you're kind of a face of the brand in some ways in this region. I mean,
yeah. I mean, people here definitely know me as the general rep.
right.
You know,
that you're the Macanundo guy, the Punch guy, the
Yep.
Cohiba guy.
yeah. So I've done, and the big
CAO.
thing is, Wichita is a great market for cigars alone, but a really great market for general.
Yeah.
Cohiba, CAO, and Macanudo do really well in Wichita,
Yes, they do.
and so we've done multiple events with Rick down here with CAO. We've done some with Sean with Cohiba.
Got one coming up.
Yeah, we got one coming up in March with Sean doing a dinner. But that's just it. Like when people when people see me in a shop, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're with General. You do this and this." So yeah, I'm kind of I am the face of General in the Midwest area.
Which
So
is the crazy thing about Wichita too, and I think you can probably expound on this more. It's an odd market. You got a lot of shops, a lot of large shops for a city
And
that's
they-
500,000.
for a city that's 500,000 to have the number of big shops
Right. We have 4 big shops.
that do the
5.
business that Wichita does in the cigar industry is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing.
We roughly have the same number of shops Kansas City does.
Yeah.
I mean, they're smaller segment, and Wichita has some smaller shops, but there's 4 main shops in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Outlaw, Diebold, and the other one downtown.
You've got La
Fidel's.
Couture downtown. You've
La
got
Couture,
Fidel's.
that's the new one.
Yeah.
So you got 5.
But you've got Weston. You know, they're just outside of Kansas City limits. You've got
Yeah.
Weston. But yeah, I mean, there's 5 or 6 big accounts in Kansas City.
Kansas City's $1.8 million in the
Something
metro.
like that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So
Yeah.
3 times the size of Wichita easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, for the size of Wichita, the number of shops you guys have, and the fact that everybody is doing good business is amazing. I love it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
because we don't have 5 small shops. We have 5 shops that have inventory on hand.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, some of our competitors have different segments of the Cohiba line.
Uh-huh.
We carry pretty much everything you offer in general. However, there's some shops that are more into the tubos and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Everybody's got their niche.
yeah, they find
Right?
what works for their shop and they
Yeah.
go with it. So yeah, but Wichita's a little odd like that.
It is. But I mean,
It's good
again,
for you on the stop though because it's a good day to 2 day.
yeah, I'm down here about 2 days. You know, I come in one day, work the afternoon into the evening, wake up, hit more shops, finish on the way out of town. So, I mean, if I wanted to be lazy, I could make it a 2 full day.
Yeah.
You know,
And that may happen once in a while.
not saying it doesn't, but yeah.
So people that don't really know repping, what's something about being a rep that a lot of people wouldn't know?
So I tell everybody that's always like, man, you've got the best job in the world. And don't get me wrong, I love my job,
A
right?
lot of traveling.
I do.
A lot
I
of
love my
windshield
job. You have, like, the big thing about being a rep that travels multiple states is you have to be okay being alone.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be okay eating dinner alone, going to bed alone, waking up alone, eating breakfast alone, eating lunches alone. Like you said, a lot of windshield time. I average 150 to 170 nights a year in a hotel, right? And that's three state roughly. 150, 170 nights a year in a hotel. I do roughly 38,000 miles a year in my car in 3 states. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
For the most part, I leave my house on a Tuesday, come home Friday afternoon. Sometimes leave Monday, come home Friday. We got weekend events. So you have to have a family dynamic that allows you to be away. I'm so thankful my wife is awesome, supportive, knows that this is my dream job, and she's cool with it. I mean, we have dogs at home, and she handles the house while I'm gone, and never gives me that I wish you were home more.
well,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, but the nice thing about General is only having the 3 state territory, I am home more.
Mhm.
I was with Ashton, I had 7 states, and that's a lot. That was a lot of driving.
You were
I was,
all the way to the coast.
yeah, I was
So you were
Minnesota, Dakotas, all the way down to Oklahoma.
in state for 1 shop or 2 shops. Yeah.
Right. So, I was definitely on the road more. And I'm not going to, I'll be 100% honest. I mean, it was tough on us for a little while, I mean, at first it was cool. Like every Friday was like seeing you, seeing that person, after a week missing, you
It's
love
like
it.
dating again.
But then it's like Monday morning, it's like, well, I'll see you Friday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's tough. So that's why I tell everybody that's like, oh, I would love to be a rep. I'm like, look, are you good with being alone? Can you sit in a hotel room
Yeah.
and still do
Are
paperwork?
you securing
At
that
10
to go to a
o'clock.
restaurant, have people look at you and go, why are you there by yourself?
Right.
Which
Yeah.
I don't really give a crap.
I don't care either.
But some people do.
Yeah, some people don't wanna be-
cannot eat
Yeah.
alone. I mean,
Yeah.
And and here's something a lot of people don't think about, but because you powerlifting, you gotta get good sleep.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find gyms.
Yeah.
I mean, to carry a life on where you're training.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
been
know
one
all
of the,
the gyms around the area.
that's been one of the things that I had to come to terms with when training for a competition and being on the road. I figure I can get Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday morning in my home gym. Right. I can give my body a rest Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings.
Okay.
So when I'm in training mode and traveling mode, that's kind of my training schedule is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday morning, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
But I have found that when I'm here in Wichita, the place that's holding the competition, Top Crop, when I'm in town, I go work out there.
Yeah.
There's a gym right behind my shop in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's an amazing gym, and it's super cool. It's like $10 for a day pass.
Yeah.
Right. This gym is amazing. So when I'm in Arkansas, I've got a gym.
Yep.
Right. And I know there's
Wichita,
gyms.
you got a gym.
Yeah, I'm in Wichita. I got a gym. I know there's amazing gyms around St. Louis, but it's when I'm in St. Louis, I'm so busy because it's my biggest market that I don't want to say I don't have time for it because that's a dumb
But it's
excuse.
such a big market. You're so focused on
Yeah.
the market, serving
Yeah.
your customers.
Like last week when I was out there, I left my hotel at 9 a.m. and I got home at 10:30 that night.
Jeez.
I got back to the hotel.
Wow.
So it was just an all-day thing. So it's like, well, could I wake up tomorrow morning and go to the gym? I could if I want to. Not necessarily. 'Cause I'm tired. You know what I mean? So it's just, I do get those break weeks and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
So now we got a guest host,
he wanted to be on. He wanted
Yeah,
to be
he
on.
wanted to be
you
on
know,
there.
So
Mr. Jason Easley.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate that.
So
What's going on?
Jason used to manage a shop here in Wichita
Yep.
back in the day.
Back in the day,
back in the day,
still enjoying the cigar scene.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Still come and enjoy an occasional stick here and there.
What are you smoking on?
Right now, I'm smoking a Prometheus Modifier Series B Maduro.
Okay.
It's
Been a hot minute since I smoked Prometheus.
This
This is our
particular
best
God of Fire is one of my go-tos. It has the Maduro calms it down so much. It has a sweet, really sweet taste to it. And
Okay.
It's just something that mixed in with certain cognacs tastes really good to me. So today happens to be one of those days.
Just as good as any, right? That's right.
So you guys were talking about working out?
Yeah.
What you guys talking about?
Kind of a gym rat too, Jason.
Well,
Just traveling.
I'm retired gym rat, but I'm getting back in the game.
Just we're all retired from our prime gym days, except for Rusty.
well,
Right.
I don't know.
Now Rusty is still slinging up barrels
I'm
somewhere
trying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
How many 100-pound keg is it that you got?
200.
200-pound keg over a 52-inch bar.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's got to be kind of challenging because
Yeah.
I mean you're not like a 6'3" guy.
No, I'm
Now
only
you-
5'10".
Right.
see
I
why.
mean, me and you're about 5'10".
Yeah.
Now you
Yeah.
see why I go bar crawling. This is my
Right.
oh my god. Because
Right.
if I write a check, I can't
But I'm gonna
cash.
tell you, the low center of gravity.
Yeah.
You can move some stuff around.
Yeah. I can move some weight.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get back and get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start incorporating some more cardio into my game.
What's cardio?
Yeah.
You know, since I started lifting, we're gonna really go off course here. I don't take blood pressure meds anymore.
You know,
Isn't that weird? Because
Yeah.
it's so counterproductive to what everybody tells you.
Yeah.
I just saw a particular member's name on there. That's pretty neat. Just saw that. But anyway, I just recently got put on blood pressure meds since my surgery.
Okay.
They're probably going to take me back off of them now that I'm
As your body's adjusting.
Yes, I'm leveling back off. But I've adjusted. When you say what's cardio, well, I've incorporated since I'm not young anymore. Everyone gets used to a set of 12 to 15, 10 to 12, 6 to 8. Well, I'm doing some really, really intense stuff.
Okay.
Heavy weights and a lot of repetitions. And when I can't go anymore, I just lighten the weight up just a hair. But I still, if I'm doing 200 reps on lats, I'm doing 200 reps on lats, right side, left side, etc. I might, on dumbbells, I might start off with 80s and might hit 50 and have to go to 60s and then have to go to 40s. But I'm still burning out.
Yeah, I
So I'm
can't
still
count
in
that.
muscle. So I'm still in muscle failure
Right.
at that point, So.
Yeah.
So for all the normal people out here,
But it gets me down in fatigue. It gets that heart rate up. So
Yeah.
it actually acts as cardio as well.
Oh yeah. No.
I don't know when you're
I
doing it that way.
don't take breaks between sets. I go
Right.
from one thing
Yeah,
to another.
you
to
hit-
another.
Superset it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate life.
There's
Some days.
actually studies that says that that's actually better than doing your jogging or doing your walking.
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
And
Yeah, I
stuff
used
like
to do some pretty crazy running back in the day.
that. Yeah, well, I actually ran in college and in high school and stuff like that, and I used to be a distance runner. But those days are done. My knees tell me they're done.
What was the longest run you ever did?
I used to run probably 15 miles a day. 10. We used to practice at about 10 miles a day. So, to do your 5K or your 10K, whatever you're running for, 6.2 miles, 3.1 miles. It just kind of depends on where you were in the season.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing your fartleks, working on your turnover,
Right.
because you want to peak at the end. So it all kind of depend on where you were.
What your goals were,
Yeah,
what you're training
you know,
for. Yeah.
so- But those days are decades and decades.
Yeah, I don't
ago.
do 100-mile runs anymore.
No.
No more
In the
triathlons.
wintertime, I used to, in those 2 months in the winter, I used to put in at least 200 miles.
Yeah.
In that 60-day span.
You know what, man? I don't necessarily miss those 200-mile months.
My feet don't.
No. I've got titanium in my right
Yeah.
foot from
And I've had a couple of knee repairs on the right side, so
Yeah.
and I'm feeling it with this recent sub-zero
Yeah.
weather. So ibuprofen and
Got
I
my
become
pimp
good
like that.
friends. What are you smoking, Rick?
We're smoking on the limited edition CAO Arcana, so I like it. It's good.
Pretty good.
Well, I'm a general fan.
Yeah.
And they've always put out good products.
This is one that Ricky is really, really excited about. So, it's fun. Anybody that knows Rick Rodriguez knows that he gets excited. When Ricky gets excited, it's something cool.
It
Right.
is.
And so when we had our sales meeting and he was talking about the Arcana, you could just see it and hear it, like that he was getting excited about it. And it's like, all right, this is going to be something.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, we got to keep pushing the envelope. We're the big boys in town, so we got to keep coming out with new stuff.
Yeah.
So,
That's Ricky's a really good guy.
yeah.
Really passionate about his cigars. Very personable person, very humble.
Oh, yeah.
We've shared a friendship for many, many years, and it's something I definitely cherish.
So it's
Great
funny.
guy.
I told my wife a Ricky story on the drive down here today. So we're on the turnpike, right? And you look out, if you've never been on the turnpike on I-35 from Kansas City to Wichita, you look out for miles upon miles and there is nothing. I mean,
You'll see some cows.
well, here that's where we're getting at, right? So the first time I'm driving from Kansas City to Wichita with Ricky, we're driving, and just out of the blue, he looks over and he sees some cows, and he was like, "Where is their home?" Because you're looking and there are no houses in sight,
true. That's true.
right? And he's like, "Where do they live?" And I was like, "Ricky, I don't know." Like,
You know that people
I mean, like,
people actually travel around the United States. They travel that cattle around the United States to eat on the grounds of the Flint Hills because that is sacred feeding ground for cattle.
so is that that's
Yes,
probably
that's
where
Flint
the
Hills.
what's that cattle roundup? Is it it's on the turnpike. There's no toll, but there's a cattle, like a roundup pen there that you can.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of historic little deals where you can drive off and kind of look
Yeah.
off into the Flint Hills.
Yeah.
I don't know the particular ranch name or anything.
Anyways, but yeah, it was just funny that's. I was telling my wife that on the drive down. I was like, it was just funny because I mean, like he's like, where do they live? Because you literally look for miles upon miles
Yeah,
and there is no
right.
house,
Nothing.
there's no
Right,
farmhouse, there's nothing.
Nothing.
And it's like, man, can you imagine like having to check this fence line and like, you're out
But I will
your
tell
day
you, there are
trips
some houses out there.
Somewhere.
And there's some nice houses
There's
and
some
ranches
grand
over there.
houses out there. Yeah.
Yes.
somewhere.
And I'll tell you that people drop that cattle off just to graze that land.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yes, that is actually historical land
Huh.
for cattle.
Yeah.
Flint Hills.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
do they-
but Rick's a Florida guy, so I mean,
Yeah.
he's used
Right.
to
Yeah.
city on city on.
Yeah, he's in Tampa.
That's palm tree on
City.
palm tree,
Right.
nice
Yeah.
weather, a little rain.
Yeah, he's a Tampa man.
Hurricane every once in a while.
Right.
Well, he's a Tampa guy, so he doesn't get hurricanes.
No, he
Well, they
probably
blow
was. He's a
across.
little bit
Just
inland, yeah.
tropical.
It was funny.
No, and I can hear Rick saying that too. Like, where do they live?
I think there was a bro in there too. If you know, Ricky, there's a bro in there. somewhere.
Bro,
Bro, where do they live, bro? I love you, Ricky.
bro.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was funny.
yeah. Well,
So,
shows you how his level of thinking is.
well, yeah, you don't think about it.
Yeah.
So,
we take that for granted.
If
We're
you
used to
Yeah.
don't see it,
right,
it's what we're used to.
yeah,
Beef is what we're used to.
yeah, yeah.
So where seafood is what he's used to
right.
out there on on the coast. So
Yeah.
That's normal for him and that's normal for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, general, they've had a little bit of a change.
Yeah, we're
Structuring.
going a little change. It all got announced the end of January. We took a couple of our brands and we actually formed a new cigar company called the Forge Cigar Company. And we took some of our brands and shifted them over. So the general portfolio is now less the Partagas brands, the La Gloria brands, Diesel brands, Boulevard Cofrida, El Rico Habano, El Rey de Mundo, Chillin' Moose. I think that's it right now.
I think.
Yeah. So we kind of they've got their own sales team, sales force now. They're kind of just starting to get the wheels spinning. They're starting to get out. The rep for this territory has been hired. It's still kind of secret squirrel. They haven't told me who it is yet. He's supposed to be on board, I think, either next week or the first week of March. So you guys will have a new rep for the Forged. I'm still around for General for all CAO, Macanudo, Punch, Cohiba, Hoyt de Monterey, La Estrella, Odyssey. Heck, there's more stuff in there. Lean Pipe Tobacco, Peter Stokeby, Peterson. Some of that stuff too. But yeah, no, we're just it needed to happen. Those brands have the opportunity to really grow. But I think they just always lived under the shadow of the big four, Cohiba, Macanudo, Punch, and CAO, that they never really got the chance to grow and get to potential. And now they do. They're the staples of the new Forged Cigar Company. They've got the opportunity to grow. I've done a lot of work over the last couple of years, really growing Diesel in the territory. La Gloria is making a good comeback. The Boulevard Cofer last year. I told people from the get-go that for the money, that cigar was going to be the best cigar General released last year, and I still stand to it. So I think
the Spanish press is so good.
The Spanish press is fantastic. But I think the groundwork is laid, and I think the Forge team is they're ready to go. Once the new guy comes in, I've done a lot of work to get everybody excited about those brands. That he should have a good transition. Keep smoking it; they're fantastic cigars. Who doesn't love Partagas and La Gloria? You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's going to do great. What that also does for General is it allows me to come in and not have a price list.
Right.
Three times the size of what it needs to be.
Catalog in half.
Yeah.
You now can focus on main brands.
Yeah, so I can really focus in on the big five now. The Hoyt de Monterey and Cohiba and Macanudo and Punch and CAO, and I can really dive in and really start to grow those guys out some more too. So we're obviously going to have new products coming out. It's General. We do it every year. We bring out new stuff every year. So we're going to really focus. Yeah, this limited edition Arcana.
I've always liked about General. They've always brought out new stuff every year at the trade show. So they throw some stuff out there and a lot of it sticks.
So I can say it because it's already out there, but if you guys remember a couple of years ago, we did the CAO Zocalo. It was a limited edition. That's coming out as a full line production now. So it uses San Andreas, Mexican San Andreas wrapper leaf. So it's going to be part of the World Series.
Okay.
So right in line with the Brazilian, the Colombia, and the Italia, and America, and Nicaragua. So it's another line in that. So that comes out in March. So pretty excited about that. There's I can't say much about it yet because there hasn't been a press release, but there's a new limited edition Cohiba coming out next month that I'm really excited to get to try. So yeah, we've got some really good news coming. I'm excited. It allows me to, like I said, really focus in.
We did that Zoom with Sean that night, and he was very coy about that. But he said, just keep your eyes open.
Yep. So I'm excited for it to come out because it's going to have a really awesome backstory to it. So if you've been in the industry a long time and about the factory that we're going to be rolling with, and the fact that the cigar can claim that it's where it's made. It's going to add a lot of depth and intrigue, interest to. I really want to smoke this, and it's a limited edition. So when it's in your shop and you see it, again, it's a Cohiba. It's going to be a little pricey, but
luxury line.
Absolutely, luxury, 100%, luxury line. So
better grab it if you want to smoke.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for it to come out. I'm waiting for those samples to show up. So
I'm waiting for those samples to show up.
I'm waiting for at least one.
So, but yeah, so good things with General. Like I said, the Forge is going to do great. The guys are on board. We actually, the team is not a bunch of new reps. You know, I mean, we've got some pretty seasoned reps that have come on board with the Forged. So, I mean, it's not going to be some rinky dinky, you know, new
Training
company.
ground to become
No.
a rep to go to general.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are great reps, knowledgeable. They've been around for a long time. They've got all the tools to really succeed. The brands of, like I said, we've cultivated the brands over the last decades for some and a couple of years for the others.
And a couple of those you've probably done a disservice to just because your catalog is so big.
And that could be, you know, that's a big thing of why. I mean, they're going to have their time to shine now.
Mhm.
Like, here's your time to grow. So nothing's holding you back now.
Yeah, there's no way you could have done an event for everything in the old
No.
It would have been impossible.
I could have done an event here every week for almost 2 months straight with a different
Just every,
portfolio, with a different brand. So now it's slimmed down, and I can concentrate more and really focus the energy.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. You know, at first I was kind of taken back, and I was like, "What? I don't like this." And then I kind of sat back, and I was like, "All right, I get it. I'm on board now."
Yeah. Well, a lot of people that don't
I just
work in
don't want
the
to
shop
change.
or a rep don't realize that part of your job too is educating us so we can educate the customer.
Yep.
And when you had that massive catalog, it was like, oh, here, smoke this. I got to go, and I'll tell you about it next time. I mean,
Yeah.
You didn't do that so much, but it's happened in the past with other companies that have big catalogs. You just can't cover everything in a visit.
Yeah.
So now you can.
And if so, it's just like at the end, I just sound like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
there's just I can only talk about so much.
Yeah.
Before you just tune me out and say, "No, I'm good."
And it's a little hard in the shop to educate when you've got customers walking in.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
We're soundbite education.
Yeah.
So that is a critical role that good reps do.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to sell your product, you got to know.
You got to know it, you know, and that's the
Gotta
thing
know.
too. And the big thing for me too is, you know, you come into a shop that supports my brands. Like, I really want to get behind you and be like, all right, you support me. Let's do stuff.
Right.
Let's do this. I'm gonna throw you this gratis stuff. I'm gonna throw you these things, this swag, run a promo.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get you in the 5-star system.
Yeah, like the 5-star program. Do all this stuff. Like, let's help you out. Let's get you the most, you know, bang for your buck. Let's do that. So it really comes down to the more you support me, the more I'm going to support you.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, and it's not just me. Every rep is that.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
get to see your reps more when you're
Yeah.
selling them. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. You know, if you've got 3 boxes of one company in the humidor, how often do you really take a customer to it?
That's a good point.
You know what I
And
mean?
especially if you don't know anything about it,
Yeah. If the rep doesn't have time,
it becomes hand sales.
yeah.
And
You know, I mean, they could, hey, do you know anything about this? Yeah, I've smoked one. I mean, it's
it's
okay.
Yeah.
But if you got that rep that's coming in that's like, hey, I want you to try this, I want you to try this, and I want you to, hey, here's some stuff, run this promo, and like really gets behind the product and believes in your shop to push the product, you're just going to grow. And then that means the shop does better. That means the rep does better. You know what I mean?
Well, and you know me well enough to know that if I like the rep, so I sell their product a lot more. I take people to that product. So Sam, love Sam, filled in took over
Right.
your position.
Yep,
didn't
took
he?
over for me.
Yeah.
So the Ashton,
Yep.
Your stuff, JVB.
Yep.
I mean, you know, if I
But
like
that-
the rep,
But that goes back to
Tyler.
our conversation earlier when Gordon was sitting here. We are still such a relationship-based business,
but
right?
if I like a guy, I want you to do well, so I'm
Right.
going to try to help you do well.
right? But that's
Gotta try to
because the
balance,
relationship we
spread
have.
the love out.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and again, that's the thing. You know, with where Wichita is, you get a lot of reps that still come up from Texas,
Uh-huh.
right?
Quite a few.
You get reps that come down from KC,
Quite a few.
right? Tyler's from
Miami.
Miami.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Wichita, it's weird because not a lot of those Texas reps come all the way up to Kansas,
That's true.
right?
That's true.
So
In fact, we're losing now.
yeah,
Texas is such a huge market.
such a big market.
Huge
Yeah.
market.
But it's one of those things where Wichita is like a big melting pot for reps, you know, because I'll run into reps here that I don't see anywhere else in the territory because they don't go anywhere else.
Right.
This is as far north as they go. So, yeah. So Wichita, I mean, going back to the whole population, the number of shops, just the culture of the cigar industry here in Wichita. Wichita is such a unique city when it comes to the entire industry as far as shops, the number of people, the reps that hit this stuff. I mean, it's awesome.
I mean, you have the old manager, and then Jason. Those guys did a lot along with G on building the culture.
Building the culture.
And you got Nabil downtown.
Yeah. Well, Nabil doesn't do anything with General.
I know, but still, he's an important figurehead.
Oh, yeah. As far as the industry in the city. Yeah.
But we've got a lot of passionate people.
Yeah.
Before you took over from Joe, I mean, Joe was the man over there.
Joe was there.
Yeah.
Joe was.
And then you took over and followed on where he was.
Yeah.
And
Had a good
G
teacher.
was doing his thing. And
So we were 5-star for many years.
Yep.
So
it's kind of weird. I think that's part of the culture here, though, is you've got some established people in the industry.
Yeah.
Continue to training people.
Joe has always, in my opinion, brought the right representation down. They mix well with the culture here in Kansas and in Wichita. And one thing I'll tell people about the Kansas market, it's actually bigger than what people think.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cigar shops, not only in Wichita and in Kansas City. And in Wichita used to have some of the largest cigar shop customers because we had like 5 or 6 shops in a city the size of 500,000 or 600,000 people. To where you take Kansas, Missouri metropolitan area, and you had that same amount of shops. But Wichita is a smaller area when you exclude the metropolitan of Missouri.
Yes.
Out of it. So per capita, Wichita is actually a larger market in Kansas than what most people think.
Yeah.
General was always a staple in my humidor. So I used to have what I call the wall of General.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
Still there. It's still there.
And I'm glad that it's still there. That means that,
Me too.
that Joe done his part and I done my part.
Camille's keeping it going.
Camille's keeping it going.
Yep.
That's the good.
Yep.
Guys, I appreciate you guys having me on for
absolutely.
a brief minute.
Good
It was
talking.
definitely a great time. Thank you guys. Enjoy yourself.
Thanks.
All right, so we can go off script.
Hey.
You want to talk about
No.
burning issues in the cigar
man,
industry?
No. Nothing that I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh, I don't want you to get in trouble.
No.
That's half the battle.
No. I mean, again, I go back and my time in the industry, off and on now for almost 11 years. It's been amazing. So I'm just thankful for guys like you guys. I mean, having come down here, like having a place that when I do come, like every time I come here, it's never a 20-minute
hour
visit.
visit. No,
I mean, I'm here an hour and a half.
Usually it's okay. I'm going to come do business, and then if I can wrap everything up, I'll be back.
Well,
Grab
that or
something
I
to
try
eat
to
or-
make you guys one of my last stops when I come down, because I'll get my business done out of the way, and then it's just let's
How many
talk boy
times have
stuff.
we gone out and
Yeah,
not in this drinking, but just hang out.
yeah, no, absolutely, dinner and morts and drinks and cigars and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
So
But I just want to thank you guys, man. This is awesome. Hope everybody out there watching is having a good time, and I hope some of the stuff we talked about brings you back to like one of your first cigar experiences, or maybe if you've met like a cigar personality at a shop during an event or something, and they left an impression on you, the way that Arsenio Ramos did with me working in the factory down in Nicaragua with them making our cigar, and and I even get that now with Rick, Rick Rodriguez is the man. Like, I mean, I love the man. And, he's such a staple for the industry, and especially CAO.
he's a character. If you don't know.
If you've never met him, you're missing out. But he's such a personality that I love the fact that I got to meet him in this industry.
Yeah.
And Sean with Cohiba. I love Sean. Sean's my dude.
The problem is you got a lot of dudes in general.
Yeah,
I mean,
and dudettes, because we got Laurel with Macanudo.
That's true.
That's
true.
Like that's true. So I will tell you one thing. Like, women in the cigar industry are a force to be reckoned with, and I say that because there's some cigar reps. We have one that works for General, that Carolee Martin. If you don't know Carolee, like Carolee knows her shit.
Yeah,
and she will tell you, and she has no regrets on telling you, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Right. But like, again, I go back. I met my wife in the industry. She worked at Outlaw. I was a customer. I started working. That's where we met. Right. Now we go to Laurel. Laurel is an ambassador for Macanudo. Right. So when I first started working for General, and I told people that I was going to have my Macanudo ambassador Laurel with me, I got looks like, you're bringing a chick into the cigar shop. They had this like this idea that women aren't knowledgeable enough about cigars, right?
Not
so
in my world.
Not at all,
around here.
not at all,
There's a lot
right?
of women that can
Laurel-
school you if you're not
Laurel-
careful.
is one of the smartest women in the industry that I've ever met. She has a palate that she can blend. She can talk to you about the cigars. She's been there. She's worked in retail. She worked a shop up in Wisconsin. I mean, she's been there. So I love going into shops and seeing women smokers. I love going into shops and see women employees. I love shops that are female owned. I've got multiple female owned shops and I absolutely love them.
Yeah.
Right. But women in the industry is one of the best things for this industry.
Right. Women in shops is the best thing for the industry.
Yes.
It's amazing the number of women that will ask, women smoke cigars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's women smoke cigarettes too. I mean, those are nasty cigars. Smoke some plastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, just shout out to all the women that are in the industry. If
Stay
you
in the
smoke
industry.
cigars, stay. We need
Get your
you.
friends in the
We need you. We need you.
Yeah.
And be badass women. So, but yeah. So again, just thank you guys. I really appreciate all the support that Auburn does, and Gordon and Troy and Todd. You know, you guys support General, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Yep. We thank you.
So appreciate it. So
All right. Well, that went pretty good.
that was good.
So, what is it? Sunday night, we're going to, Joel Reeser with Black Label will be joining us.
Nice.
Hopefully, no technical difficulties, which could be. But
Maybe they
Joel
don't
will be
love
a
you
good
enough
one.
to come do it in person. Wink.
No, Joel would be up here. He's fighting to have an event with us. So
Yeah,
he's another good dude in the industry. Joel's got great stories too.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so it ought to be entertaining. So,
Good deal.
all righty. Well, I guess we call it a wrap.
Sounds good.